Hey guys, Chris here, and I'm a Ukrainian Canadian. Today is October 23rd, 2022, and let's get over the news happening in Ukraine, shall we? So today, the Wagner private military company has been admitting that Kherson is lost. Very surprising, but we've been hearing this sort of defeatism from the Russian side in the past week. So I'm expecting a lot of gains and a lot of bad news for the Russian army in that front in the next couple of days. Again, there has been a media news blackout from the Ukrainian side, so we don't really hear much about what is happening right now on the front lines. But I'm expecting in the next few days some big news coming out and a massive Russian retreat in the next few weeks. That's at the maximum, I think, in the next few weeks. Um, and the fact that these Telegram channels, they're pro-Russian, are admitting that is only telling that this is the truth. Um, Again, there have been unconfirmed reports that we've reached Milve, which is very close to Novakhovka. It's about 35 kilometers away from Novakhovka. So if we manage to break their lines in Milve, it's going to collapse completely, I believe. If we look at a deep state map, this is Kherson here, and Milve is right here. And you can see that they've indicated that their defenses are right here, kind of set up right before the town of Milve. So if we manage to break through here, there's nothing stopping us anymore to hit Novakhovka. And if that happens, I believe the Russians will probably 90% chance likelihood break the dam, damage it, and they'll try to flood Kherson, southern Kherson, which will cause a humanitarian and an environmental disaster. But it'll hurt the Russians more in this situation because all their soldiers are here. We're still not going to be able to go that fast. So, and we'll be very careful because we already understand that this is a plausible scenario that the Russians might try to push for. So we'll see what happens on this front, but I am expecting some big pushes here. In other news, the Ukraine Ministry of Defense has said that there's 3,000 Russian soldiers, sorry, that have surrendered since the beginning of the war. I think it's a very low amount. They should be way more Russian soldiers giving up arms, especially since they've been complaining the last few months that they had zero training, they are abandoned by the command, and they just literally don't know what they're doing. And they're hungry, they're cold. And only 3,000 is a very small amount compared to the amount that they've managed to mobilize. Um, so this tells you a lot about the Russian attitude, right? It's very weak. They are very weak-minded, especially the soldiers. I mean, you complain, you know what the problem is, and you don't do anything about it. You have the option of surrendering to the Ukrainian army, and the Ukrainian army has made a very big deal and tried to really push for sending texts to all soldiers that have, cell phones to tell them, hey, you have choice. You have a choice to surrender, and here are the steps of how you can do it. And again, through by knowing that there's only been 3,000 that gave up and surrendered, it's it's way too low. So, um, yeah. In other news, there has been insane footage that came out today of a Russian Su-25 pilot that ejected from his aircraft after he was hit by a Ukrainian surface-to-air missile. Let's look at it. It's unbelievable footage. Um, you can see he's flying the plane and he gets hit and he automatically ejects from the plane and hits the ground with a parachute. And you can see the plane here that crashes and burns. And I say it's unbelievable because I think it's the first of its kind. This footage, I've never seen footage like that in 4K, first person, and you get to see the entire process from flying to crashing and the pilot ejecting. And expect way more of these crashing. Again, they're crashing every day. The Russian command is sending these Su-25 and 24 pilots to the front lines. And we hear every day that, there's 2 or 3 getting hit. So not very surprising. And again, another Su-30 Russian pilot crashed into a residential district in Russia. If you guys don't remember, I pulled up a video a couple days ago of a pilot and very crazy footage as well, who hit a residential district in Russia after he lost control of his plane, apparently, and he had a full payload of bombs, so it killed 30 people instantly, about 20 to 30 civilians when he hit that residential house. And again, I've said it in my previous video, expect more videos like that because there's two factors that play into why this is happening. One, because they're lacking the pieces and the maintenance necessary for safely operating these planes. They just are in severe lack of modern pieces, right? And second of all is pilot inexperience. They don't have the experienced pilots anymore to be able to control these planes and safely, you know, ground them, right? You can even crash them, but crashing them in residential district is what is unbelievable to me, right? They would rather the pilots, save themselves and kill 30 people rather than perhaps die, but knowing that they didn't kill 30 people. So expect, again, way more of these videos coming up in the next few weeks as well as, the planes are going to be in much more severe shape. No maintenance done on them or very minimal maintenance because they don't have the parts. And the last thing I wanted to hit is the Russian geopolitical terrorism that they are currently doing. So this is a French article that mentions that overnight there has been an internet slowdown due to the fact that some underwater internet cables have been cut, and they believe that these have been Russian submarines operating that could potentially have cut these internet cables in the South France or in the Atlantic Sea as well. But again, it's unconfirmed, so they can't really point a finger exactly. But again, that's the only reason why an internet cable would be rendered useless and cut, right? They've made sure that these cables cannot be cut by, things like sharks or, like the biological life underwater. They're very thick and it's very hard to cut them. It needs to be a very, very strong external force that can cut it through instantly. And I believe that truly it is the Russian government that is pushing for that. They are in lack of things to do anymore, right? So they want to make life hell for everyone else because they understand that they are in a critical situation. They are losing, and they want to just throw tantrums around the world, trying to show to the world that, hey, if we're going down, you're going down with us. This is the attitude that the Russian government has right now, and Putin as well. He's ordering all of this to happen. And the last news is that Russia's preparing to stage a new migration Armageddon in Europe. And it has switched the airport in Kaliningrad to open sky mode, meaning that they're accepting everybody to come through. And if you guys remember, this was a big contentious point right before the Ukraine conflict in Belarus. I think it was last year when they were pushing the Syrian migrants to the Polish border and telling them, hey, cross the border. And this created an international scandal because you had this crisis of Syrians that were told that, hey, you can go to Poland now, you're going to get your EU citizenship, no problem. And the Polish had to intervene with their army, set up a border with a wall, and the army trying to guard the border between Belarus to stop these migrants, illegal migrants, from crossing the border with from Belarus. And this was directly commanded by Putin and Lukashenko, the Belarus president. And if we look at the map here, I'll show you where they were trying to push the Syrian migrants. It was essentially around here, all throughout the border here. And now in the Kaliningrad Oblast, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to push all these illegal migrants from this oblast to Poland and Lithuania, which will cause an international scandal and a crisis of illegal immigrants. So we'll have to see what is going to happen in the next few weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised. This is another tactic by Putin. You're going down with us type of tactic, right? We can't allow Europe to be comfortable if they're supporting Ukraine. And again, the front lines haven't really changed on this map, so I'm not going to really update because there's still media blackout. So in the next couple of days, we'll hear a little bit more of the Ukrainian gains. But especially in Kherson, I think we'll have a lot of good news coming up. I thought this weekend we'll have some news officially from Deep State, but they still haven't really updated. But expect lots of green colors around here in Kherson. Let's hope for that. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching my videos. I'm wishing you a really good Sunday wherever you are, and I'll see you guys soon in the next few days. Thank you.